First Lady Janie Gordon's on the phone with me. Good morning, Janie.
Good morning.
I have been bragging about you on the air for several weeks, almost maybe more than a month by now, because your whole hunger initiative has just done nothing but impress me. To get all of these different independent organizations working together at a time like this, how's it been going?
It's been going great. Everyone is all hands on deck, and so that makes it easy to get together. And these people are very passionate about helping folks and feeding people. So it's not a heavy lift at all.
Do you have, and do they have, all of the resources they need? Because I envision as you do this that people are coming out of the woodwork to supply you and these organizations with what they need to help those who are in need.
We have had some generous donors and many generous donors. I do think this is going to be an ongoing commitment, and so I know that there have been people who have stepped up, but I do think this will be lasting. The Wyoming Food Bank of the Rockies has notified me that they have over 300% increase in their requests, so it is going to be a heavy lift for some time.
Mrs. Gordon, if you would be so kind, just for folks who might not be familiar, can you give us a rundown of what the Wyoming Hunger Initiative is and how you try to benefit folks across the state?
Sure. When we were so fortunate as to be elected, and I thought about what the initiative would be, I really wanted to work on childhood hunger in Wyoming because I had been alerted to the fact that there was quite a bit of folks or many people around the state that were working on this issue, and so I really wanted to not reinvent the wheel. I wanted to support those boots on the ground and just spotlight them, give them any resources that we can, and also network them, because oftentimes folks don't know even someone down the road is working on the same issue.
And so how has this pandemic negatively affected food distribution across the state? What restrictions are you operating under now, if any?
Well, we are operating under a lot of restrictions with the food pantries, and so the mobile food pantries that Wyoming Food Bank of the Rockies has put on has really structured it so that folks stay in their car. There are fewer volunteers. They're wearing gloves and masks and are not getting close to the folks, and they're just asking the bare minimum of information to get them in and out as quickly as possible.
And like I say, has this impacted your ability to complete your mission, or do you feel like you're still getting what needs or what folks need to them?
Well, I think it has impacted us just because I love to go and travel and meet folks and work on those mobile food pantries. But we did the first three, and then we stopped per the governor's orders. And so now we're just doing call-ins, check-ins, and helping with getting funds to the pantries, the local pantries, as well as the food bank.
You know, a point that several of our guests this morning have made is that, anytime there's adversity in the state, Wyoming really shows out to support each other and help us all get through this together. Is there particular support that the initiative could use from the general public right now? How can we get involved or donate? I mean, especially considering the social distancing that's in effect.
Right, and that one's a tough one. Excuse me. I would say that, if you do want to get involved and you want to volunteer, to call a local pantry, because oftentimes your local pantry has been staffed by retired folks that had that extra time, and they are probably the most vulnerable. So there are some pantries that are cutting back hours, so I would suggest folks call their local pantry and see if they need help, and they can give you all of the steps and the gear that you need to be doing it safely and effectively.
Mrs. Gordon, literally you've taken this show on the road. You've been traveling from one community to the next. So two questions here. Where are you going to be next? And if somebody needs that caravan to show up, how do they arrange that?
Well, we haven't got our marching orders yet because we still aren't open up, and we're not considered, my office isn't an essential worker. So as soon as they're opening it up, we're going to be going back out on some of these mobile food pantries, because I think they're the ones who really are boots on the ground. So that we don't know yet, but as soon as we know, we'll get that information to you.
That's great. And does it seem as though this pandemic and some of these restrictions have heightened the need for support for services like what's offered by your initiative?
Yes. What we did, as soon as on March 17th, I started a task force, the COVID-19 task force, and we got our website designed so that when you click on the nohungerwyo.org website, you can click into the COVID tab, and it will show you a county. And on that county has it starts with all of the school lunch sites where they're serving school lunches.
Certainly.
All of the pantries, and then it has some information about mental health, because I know a lot of folks in this time are isolated, so it just has a little pop-up box, numbers you can call if you need something. So
that's fantastic. And generally, I mean, even before the pandemic, how widespread is the problem of hunger in Wyoming?
Well, surprisingly bigger than I thought. About 70,000 folks, and these were the numbers prior to the pandemic, in our state were food insecure. And so that's about 1 in 6.
Wow.
And yes, and that's about 23,000 children are in that as well.
And it seems like what districts have been doing, school districts, with distributing meals, despite schools being closed, of course, it seems like that's making a big difference. I imagine they're getting a lot of support from your initiative.
They are. Tamara Jackson, who is the food service director for the Wyoming Department of Education, really stepped up on this project and got the waivers put in place immediately as soon as possible. And so with that, she's able to get every district can feed breakfast and lunch to a child, and they do have some weekend feeding. So working really closely with them has been an honor for me. They are amazing crews, and those lunch ladies, they get it done.
And so for anybody who wants to get involved, really support their local food pantry, is there a particular type of food item that is needed more than others right now, or what's the best way for folks to go about that?
I think I would check with your individual pantries, because oftentimes they will get their orders in and they may know what they need. So I would double check with them, and you can get on the website and find your local pantry if you're not sure what's in your county.
And that's nohungerwyo.gov, right?
.org.
.org. Okay, very good. Any other contact information you'd like to give out for the initiative?
Sure. Sometimes people don't have internet access, so we've really tried to focus on getting information to folks that don't have that. And so there is a call-in number, 211, and they will you can call them if your power is being turned off, if you need resources, food, anything, and they will get you referred to the proper place. And so it's a nice way to make sure that you don't go into like a bureaucratic holding pattern, dial this and dial that.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Well, and we sure appreciate you coming on this morning and sharing these resources, this information. Obviously, a crucial problem, not just amid a pandemic, but every day, and hopefully an opportunity folks will seize to get involved and make a positive difference for their neighbor.
Oh, absolutely. That's what we have to do, is we have to support each other. And I do want to mention one thing, this is a time a lot of folks who haven't used pantries before may need to use them. And so just know that these resources are there for everyone, no matter what your circumstance is.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, First Lady Jenny Gordon, thank you for coming on, and I really do appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You have a great day.